Have you ever heard of the saying that says control the center, control the game?
No, but it
No? Okay.
sounds famous.
Yeah, it is. And we often hear it because it's like one of those basic rules that a lot of people learn when they just start playing chess. Or maybe you didn't learn that exact rule, but you always hear about controlling
Mhm.
the center. So in today's lessons, I want to take that a step further and demonstrate how to use it and why it's important at every stage of the game, not just the opening. And we'll see it through a very instructive game between Ivanchuk and Karpov.
Wonderful. I love that. And yes, I also love the thoughts behind that because often enough, when I give that as a lesson, that I'm allowed to because I like to teach how to play chess. If I give a lesson on control the center, often enough, I'm like feeling, but there are moves like g3 and bishop g2. And of course, yeah, it does control the center, but it's not like that popular as it was like 20, 30, or even more years ago. So let's see about that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's not even about the opening itself. It's more about that control. So it doesn't have to. It's
Hmm.
not like you have to start with those moves. In this game, it started with the Caro-Kann and with h4. This is theory, and white wants to push g4 sometimes, so black will prevent it like this in the game. Nowadays, bishop to d3 is slightly more popular, but in the game, Ivanchuk plays c4.
Hmm.
So far, we're just getting through the opening. Um, Already the pawn structure is slightly defined, but we'll see. It will matter a bit later in the game. Here, knight e7 is better um, to develop. This gives a very slight advantage to white, and as in all of these lines, but it's very minor. But in the game, black goes knight to d7. Not sure what the state of theory was back then in 93, but all of these moves look pretty standard so far. Now
They do.
white takes. There's two recaptures, one with the c, one with the e pawn. They're roughly equivalent. They just lead to a different structure.
Now it looks
And
more
at
like
the
a French version out of a sudden. If it would have been the
yeah,
other pawn, it looked more like Caro Khan again. But yeah, of course it's
yeah,
Caro Khan.
exactly. That's exactly what it is. So now we went through the opening, maybe a bit quickly, but what do you think about this position and your
Yeah.
thoughts?
So I have my own personal favorite system against the Caro Khan now because I just dislike those positions for black. They're very tight and just like it's very hard for white to get through, in my personal opinion. So I wouldn't like to play it as black, and I dislike playing against it as white. The next plan is, of course, the knight going to f5 to establish there. And then there might be a castling, and black is slowly just gaining a positional advantage if white is playing it wrongly, like myself.
Who do you think is better?
Mm, Probably it's rather white having an advantage because the pieces of black take a little bit more time to get out. I think white can quite quickly castle and get the bishop and knight out easily. So a titsy tiny advantage, but almost equal maybe.
hmm Yeah, that sounds like a very fair explanation. If you think white is better because of their space and center, that would be perfectly right. So you,
Oh yeah, right. That was the theme. Yeah.
that's the theme, control the center, control the game. So you might think that in such a game, this concept will be demonstrated by white, but there is a plot twist. And from now on, we'll look at it from black's perspective. So
Da da
what do you think
da.
black should do in such a position?
And after this move in particular, well, get the queen out to b6 is often played, I guess, or even. Ah, okay, okay. Well, I think it is a bit too dangerous to play f6, but thinking about this a little longer, it could actually work, which would perfectly fit into our theme because after if 6 takes, the bishop has to retreat, and then out of a sudden, black is going forward to controlling the center.
You got it. That's exactly what happened in the game. He plays f6.
It looks scary because of queen g6, which isn't scary because of the knight on e7,
For
and
sure.
it's perfectly working.
No, I would also be hesitant to play that with such a king. But yeah, but we'll see what happens. Here still, like if we look at the engine and if we, look at the best possible lines to play, white is better. They have a lot of good plans. They do have good development. Like there's no reason why white should be worse by any means. But sometimes, yeah, in chess, it's more about these ideas and who has that momentum. And sometimes you can build it up and make the opponent make a few inaccuracies here and there. So here I really like the next move by black. What do you think they're gonna do about this whole central and king safety situation?
Wow, that is such a great question, isn't it? Well, the question obviously is probably, is e5 too early or not? And
Good
I think it
question.
is too early because now our king will just be too open. I cannot see this working. Also, d5 is vulnerable after taking
Yeah.
with the knight. No, I don't like it.
Well, this is actually even fine
Okay.
because like this is okay, maybe about equal. But if white keeps patient like this, then they can maintain the advantage and take at a more convenient moment.
However, yeah, exactly. So
However,
black has to try to get the pieces out so they can actually progress in the center a bit more. So one of the thoughts would be perhaps queen b6 still. And I mean, even with a tiny possibility to castle, maybe.
castle long.
Yeah. And it feels as if I know the game, right? If that really happened. But
No, it didn't happen
oh
actually. But
no.
it's a fairly like this is fine. Like this is still a good idea. White is still better.
I like it that the
Like
g8 is open now file, but
yeah, like you can tell that it's maybe white's pieces that are placed like just a bit better, having better threats.
yeah.
So honestly, castling to either side is a bit shady.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
instead,
We'll get the knight out.
yeah, by supporting it with the king.
Okay, that is interesting because I looked
Yeah.
at this move even one move earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought like, oh, that's a cool move. But then I also thought like, if ever e5 will happen, my king is just on the plate and goes like, take me,
Yeah,
please.
for
I
sure.
don't deserve to stay on the board anymore. But
Yeah,
interesting.
but the thing is how? It's not that easy for white's pieces to really get anywhere close, and black has enough to protect it. But yeah, for sure. I mean, it's obviously concerning to have the
Hmm.
king there, but as long as it's safer here than it was on either side castling, then it should stay here.
I get that, yeah.
So, yeah, the other idea was, of course, for the knight to also come here. So now the pieces untangle a little bit. Still, white has more central control. If they actually had gone for this type of idea with the bishop here and with all the pieces preventing these pawn breaks, but instead they went g3.
Okay.
And knight to b5. Here, important thing to do, we try to keep the bishop. Well, we try to, like we're not gonna hold on to it too much. Because after this, I honestly would have kept the bishop with something like this.
Yeah.
I think it would have been nice to keep it, but Karpov decided to just let it go for that knight and play it like this. Now, is this looking better for the king?
Yeah, of course it
Yeah, I think
does.
so too. Black gives a check, and actually, now White King needs to decide a few important things, and White decides to just to do this. What do you think of the endgame now?
Well, there's probably going to be two connected pawns in the center, which is quite lovely. That can, well, I guess it's still equal, but Black has some nice opportunities there in the middle.
Exactly. Equal is the right answer. So we will see over time how this center becomes important. And one more like principle of endgames is that oftentimes when you get into an endgame, you might want to keep your king in the center rather than castle to either side,
Mm-hmm.
because then your king is actually closer to the action and closer to where if he wants to be. And that's actually what both sides did here. So it's a mistake you often see being made, that you want a castle because you know that's what you're supposed to do. But if the queens are off, sometimes you should just keep it there. Now, what do we, well, you kind of mentioned Black's plan is what?
Well, it's time for e5 now, I think.
Yeah, of course. So it's time to use those central pawns.
Mm-hmm.
The king also comes in, and we have these two nice pawns. Of course, like
Cute.
no huge advantage, like it's not winning or anything, but nice ideas are there. Do we think, do we trade the rooks or we don't trade the rooks?
Sometimes you're really asking such good questions, Svetlana. I don't know. Oh, look at this. I was looking at rook f8, but that's not possible. The board is huge. So out of a sudden there's a bishop on a3 controlling this diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that in mind, maybe we can swap them, but for our advantage. I don't know. Put the rook to c6 is to make the center even stronger. But then we have a poor a pawn all alone. So maybe it's not a good idea. But what else to do? What else to do, Svetlana? Hard to say. I don't know. I have no clear answer. I'm not sure if it's good. So so my thoughts are, if we are trading, then it's more drawish.
Mm-hmm.
Is that wrong?
I mean, in general, the more like pieces you trade, I guess the less you can attack the opponent's pawns and the less you can do. But here it actually is good to trade.
Okay, I have one last idea. I will mention that
Mm-hmm.
after trading. d4, king, d5.
That's exactly what happened in the game. So yeah, maybe
Took a moment.
sometimes with these decisions, although yes, they're positional decisions, sometimes they're also a bit more concrete. Like you see the
Mm.
continuation, you like what you see, and then that's a perfectly good reason to decide like on a decision like that. So that's exactly what happened. Basically, I would say the rooks, yes, they can help black, they can help white as well. It makes it easier to maintain passed pawns. I think the more pieces are on the board,
Mm-hmm.
so we can get them out, we can start pushing the pawns a little bit more. And the king comes here. Now you see my concept of control the center, control the game, because although material is equal, position is probably equal, but you can definitely see that the power is on the black side because they have these central pawns and because they have the king there, which is perhaps even more important in the endgame than ever before. What should be the next plan in such a situation? We can't really push the pawns right away.
No, but maybe we can. What to do? How to get our. Well, we can always try to improve our knights, I would say. I have to think on how to do so. Where would an ideal position for one of my knights be? Maybe it's f5 or something. Not so easy to get there with that bishop move, I understand. Also, it has a lot of space there. It's not nice. Or we try to get the pawn. Oh, it's difficult. Okay. I would move a knight, try to make it better. That's my plan.
Yeah, it's never easy to break through in these. I honestly, like, I think there would be nothing wrong if you maneuvered a little bit and put the knight somewhere on f5. One more thing you can think about doing in these situations where it's kind of slow and you can build something up is just to gain more space. Of course, not at the expense of creating all sorts of weaknesses, but if you can just gain some more space for free, that creates more threats for the long run. So that's why the other plan is just to push these 2 pawns. Maybe not much right now, but in some variation somewhere down the line that could matter. So the best thing for white to do here was just to wait. Move the king around, wait for black to do something, and play king d1. Best move king d1. It looks a little depressing.
Wow, very.
Better than the game continuation. The computer can obviously hold these positions, but I think it's so tough because humans always want to feel like they're doing something. Just shuffling like this is really tough because you don't know if you're giving the opponent chances for something either. So instead, white tries to do something and play b4. Black is more than happy
No, that's a good spot for our knight c4.
To lock it up. Yeah, exactly. Bishop goes back. So the knight, instead of going that way to c4, because yes, on c4 it's good, but it's not attacking anything, it goes actually right here with a different idea. So now this is a critical moment, what to play.
I think it is e4. We probably attack enough pieces to gain an advantage.
Exactly. So we have to do it at some point. But here we actually needed to calculate knight d4. I know we just said e4, but that's kind of an important detail, is that the pawn was hanging.
Yeah. So what to do here? Knight e5 check, knight c4 check. Does that help?
Yes, these checks can help. That's actually it's the correct game continuation, but I just want to say that taking here is not that good because then we also lose this pawn. So we kind of lost all of our advantage like that. But yes, knight e5 is correct. And I think the nice part about this is that we have all these pieces in the center, and these knights are actually the ones controlling everything now. You said knight c4. I think like you can shuffle around with the knights, but the main idea is to get one to f2. And then it has that extra check. And if the king goes here, then this knight can check. And now the king has to retreat. And we win the knight.
That's so brutal.
Although even this position is so funny to me because
because they're trapped, right?
Neither can move. It's really funny, but black is winning.
So find a way. Yeah, because after g4,
I assume you can just take that.
But then we're losing a knight too. Oh, you mean with the pawn?
I mean, we could try to take with the pawn. We will have to calculate what if the pawn works. But even if it doesn't, you can see if you're just winning with the king infiltrating and winning one of these pawns. I don't know if it is winning, but I would assume that there is some variation that it is. So instead, in the game, he goes here and takes one knight for the other. And here, even it looks very clear to me that, okay, black is doing amazing. But even Karpov here made one mistake. What he should do is he could just take like this and play out this ending. This is winning. Still, like, some work to do, but overall, the black king enters, and there's nothing that that poor bishop can do. Or if one of these pawns falls, then it's still okay. And still enough pieces to win. Instead, he plays this and takes this pawn, and there is one save, or well, there's one idea that saves white.
Uh-huh.
That didn't happen.
Well, it has to be king b2, because if the knight goes back to c3, it's gone. And if the knight... Oh, what am I talking about? Wait. Just can take b4,
I mean, the
right?
pawn is hanging
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, you're right, you're right. Pity. Okay, so then it's g4.
Yeah, it's either g4 or bishop d2 and then g4.
Bishop d2.
This is wait, yeah, so that's what can happen, and this is equal.
That's so crazy.
Magically equal this ending, because somebody always has to stay on this side and nothing can happen on the other side. In the game, he plays this, and now g4. Black takes, and the computer suggests something amazing with only move h5, only move g3. Like these pawns are already at the point where they have to keep going. And this, I guess some computers will say it's equal, some will say no, but mine said it's equal, and it's I think it's very playable for 50 moves OTB. I think you can try, but yeah, equal, because there could be some perpetual. But yeah, a lot of interesting variations there. I wouldn't want to play that with white. So in the game itself, though, king b2 is what happened, and it wasn't enough, because now the knight is actually able to come back to
time, and oh, not even necessary. Okay.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care. You can take the queen.
Exactly. And white resigned because of, if the king comes back here,
a3 check.
There's also queen f2 with one of the mates. So
oh, okay, yeah, but it's also a3 check and queen g1. No, it's not working. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Oh, we can maybe do something like that too.
But
like,
why wouldn't we that's also working, like.
Yeah, that's true. So I thought it was an instructive game because we got to see the power of the center in every single stage of the game. Usually we know about the opening, that it gives space and piece activity, but there's also some middle game plans where these pawns don't allow any breakthroughs, let's say, and that's how we saw in the middle, where these pawns were, the opponent's knights or bishop couldn't come out, so it helps in that way. And in the end game, it gives not only passed pawns, but also that important space for the king. And that's how I would say Karpov won this game, because solely because of that central control that he maintained all throughout.
That's really cool. It's very interesting. It's a fascinating plot. I think I once listened to some live games, and they were talking about the connected pawns in the center. And one of the commentators was saying, like, why isn't there like a book about this? Because it seems so significant that this is a big advantage for the player. He was curious. And now you even, put something into that as well. Thank you so much, Svitlana. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Until soon.
See you.